Hi everyone, welcome to Techno Training. On this section, I'll be walking you through how to build pipelines in Azure DevOps. Alright, so build pipeline in Azure DevOps and so on. Building pipelines in Azure DevOps is really easy. You can migrate your web application code from anywhere into Azure Cloud by using Azure Pipelines. Remember, we set up our project in GitHub. We can migrate our GitHub project into Azure DevOps, and we can also create our repo in Azure DevOps without migrating. Alright, so let me show you how we're going to do that. Prerequisite: you need to create web app in Azure Cloud. Web app is an app service, mostly platform as service, called PaaS, provided by Azure Cloud to migrate any web app application. Once you sign into Azure portal, you need to create an app service, which is web app. So we're gonna go to our Azure portal by clicking this link, and it's gonna take you right to the Azure portal. Remember, on our last session, we already created our Azure portal and Azure DevOps. So we're gonna migrate to Azure portal and create a web app. So it's already inbuilt. So remember the last time we created virtual machine, and I told you that Microsoft Azure is trying to keep all the old services in one platform. Alright, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna click on app services. So let's go to the instruction and see. Step 1, click on app service, and step 2, click on create app service. So step 1, click on app service, and it's gonna take you right here. Then step 2, click on create, or right here, either way. Alright, so let's go back to the instruction. So step 3, choose free Azure subscription. Remember, Azure gave you $200. So right here, so this is the subscription. It's gonna show by default anyway, so you leave that as it is. Then on the resource group, you need to create one if you haven't created one before. But remember, when we're setting up our virtual machine, we created resource group. So you just need to go down and choose that right here. Okay, so then we need to pick a web app name. Let's go back to the instruction and see. Step 4, create a new resource group for the first time creating an app service. Otherwise, you can use an existing group name. So we already had one in our past lab by creating virtual machine. We set up our resource group, so we're gonna use that. Enter app service name. It should be unique as my awesome app. So let's try my awesome app. Sometimes it might not be available. You can just change apps, but let's try to see if this is available. Alright, it said not available. Let me choose let me add a 1. Alright, so my awesome app 1 is available because someone might have used that name, my awesome app. So the next thing we're gonna do, let's go back to the instruction. Alright, so we've done that part, my awesome app 1. Or you can use any other name. It doesn't have to be my awesome app, but just make sure that you know how to manipulate when you get to that place. Alright, so on the publish as code. Then on the runtime stack as Java, we choose Tomcat 8, operating system as Linux, region as Central. Alright, so let's go back. Let me show you that. So on the publish, you choose leave it as code. On the run stack, you click right here. Then let's go pick Java 8. Then on the Java web stack, we're gonna click Tomcat 8.5. So it's gonna set up a Tomcat web app for us. Remember how we set up our Tomcat when we're using the EC2? That is what we're trying to set up inside Microsoft Azure as a web app. Then we can be able to put our code on it. Alright, so we've done that part. Enter Linux plan name, choose SKU and size as given below. Then we're gonna change the default memory to 1 gig. Alright, so let me take you back and see how to do that. So on this part, we already done the Linux plan. Go right here and alright, so we can leave that right there. Then change the size, click on the change. Alright, so we're gonna choose 1 gigabyte right here and click on apply. By default is on 100, so we change it to 1 gigabyte. Alright, so click apply. That's gonna change right here. Alright, so everything should be okay right now. Let's go back. So as long as we do everything right here, then step 5, click on review and create. Alright, so let me go back, click on review and create. Alright, so the next thing we need to go right here and click create. So right now we've reviewed everything that we want on it, then we just click create. Then it's gonna say deployment in progress. Alright, let's go back to the instruction and say I've done this part. Alright, so on this part, this will take a bit time to create anyway, so right now it's gonna take a little bit time, so you just have to wait. Alright, so if everything works perfectly, we're gonna go on our app service link and click on it, and we should be able to see this Microsoft Azure homepage. Alright, let's go back and see if it's still deploying. It's gonna take a minute though. Alright, so the next thing you're gonna see after your deployment is completed, you're gonna see go to resource. So click on go to resource, and it's gonna take you right here to this home page. Then this is gonna be your myawesomeapp1.azurewebsite.net. Alright, so all we need to do is to copy this part and go to the web browser and paste on it. Then we should be able to see the home page of Microsoft Azure deploy on Tomcat. So by the time we deploy our pipeline on it, then we should be able to see our code when we had a slash on it, just the way we've been doing on EC2 and setting up all those stuff. Alright, so it might take a minute though. Alright, bingo. Alright, so if you are able to see this page, that means you are able to deploy your Tomcat through the web app on Microsoft Azure. Alright, so let's go back to the instruction and see how we can be able to create our pipeline in Azure. So step 1, now go to your Visual Studio project page. Remember we set up 2 accounts. So the first one is Azure Para and the second one is Azure DevOps. Alright, so remember where we set up our My Awesome app. Alright, so let's go back to the instruction and see what we have to do. So step 2, click on pipeline and click on create pipeline. Alright, so go right here, go inside the project, and you're gonna see the pipeline here. Click on pipeline and click on create pipeline. Alright, so let's go back to the instruction. Step 3, click on use the classic editor to create a pipeline without Yammer. Alright, so let's go back here. You need to go down to the bottom and click on use the classic editor. Remember we already set up our project in Azure repo, so we're gonna choose our repo right here. But in case you want to try the one you set up on the GitHub, you can click right here. If you have any other control version system, you can connect them by migrating them to this place. So by default, it's gonna show you your own project name. Alright, so let's go back right here and see what we have to do. Then step 5, if your application is on Java stack, type Java and choose Azure Web App for Java. So definitely we run on the Java. So on this place we're gonna click on continue. Then right here we're gonna type Java and come right here to apply Azure Web App for Java. Alright, so let's go back to the instruction and see. Alright, so click on this part. Step 6, click on pipeline name and rename per your naming standard. So definitely they want us to rename this part, and you can leave it like that if you don't want, but you know, sometimes you just want to keep this in the real time, just want to keep this as the name of the app. Alright, so let me make it my awesome app one. Alright, so let's go back to the instruction. Step 7, modify Maven goal as clean install. Alright, so we're gonna go right here, click on Maven, the Maven goal, change it to clean install. You can copy that and paste, and let's go right back. Step 8, modify Maven pom.xml path by clicking on the 3 dots. Let me show you right here. Click on this 3 dot right here, and it's gonna show your app name. click on it and it's going to show the drop down. Click on the folder and it's going to show this right here. So click on this and click OK. Alright, so let's go back to the instruction and see what we have to do. Select your repo name, select your app name, and then click on that part. So we already done that part. So step 9, leave the value as it is for copy files to staging folder. Alright, copy file to staging folder. Click right here, and so just leave it as it is. Then let's go step 10, leave the value as it is for publish artifact drop. So publish artifact drop, you don't have to touch anything right here too. Alright, so let's go back. So step 11, click on stop Azure web app, enter Azure web details where you would like to deploy your Azure. Alright, so let's go back right here. So on these 3 red parts, those are the places that we're gonna touch. Alright, so click on this part. So it needs your Outlook, email, and password. So that's what's gonna be using as credential to log on to any of your Microsoft Azure subscription. All you need to do is to click on authorize, and it's gonna pop up this right here. So all you need to enter is your email. Remember, you set up email at the beginning for Outlook, so that is gonna be your credential to authorize your Azure subscription. So enter the email and the password, and make sure you use Google Chrome. Google Chrome is gonna pop up this for you. Every other one might not pop it out for you. Alright, so it's gonna authorize. All you need there is your Outlook email and password. Remember, that's what you use in setting up your Azure Pora and your Azure DevOps. Alright, so it worked now. So the next thing you need to do is to click right here, and it's gonna show your app name. Then click on it. Then do the same thing on deploy Azure web app. So let's go back to the instruction. So step 12, click on app service name and drop down and choose your app name. So we already did that. So step 13, do the same in deploy Azure web app. On the app service, choose web app on Linux. Click on app service name, drop down and choose your app name. So let me show you right here. So click on this part, then click on drop down. So always choose the first one. Alright, the first one that you authorize. So choose the first one, and app service type, choose web app on Linux. Remember, we set up Linux. And on the app, it's gonna show the app name. Click on that. Then go to start Azure web app. Do the same thing. Choose the first one. Then on the app name, alright, you leave that as it is. On the app service name, then you're gonna choose your app name. It's gonna pop it out automatically. Alright, so that's all we need to do. So step 15, now click on save and queue from the top right. Alright, so I'm gonna come back right here. So now we've set up everything that we want. So come right here, save and queue, and click on save and queue. So it's gonna show you right here. You can type commit message. Let me type first. Let's stop that. Alright, so this could be any message though. First pipeline in Azure, then all that, then click on save and run. Then it's gonna run, then it's gonna build. Now it's building our pipeline, building our code. Alright, so it's gonna show this red. All you need to do is to run this. So come back right here and then click on this. They're gonna send you email about the fail. So they want you to send a request to this. They want you to send pipeline parallelism request to this link. I already input that right here. What is your name? Type your name. Coach. So this is gonna be your name. Your name. What is your email address? Your email address that you use for your subscription, not my email. So your email. And your organization, all you need to do is to go back right here, then copy right here, then go back and paste from your name. You might use a different name, not technical training. So copy that and put that right here. Are you requesting a parallelism increase for public or private? So just put it on private and click on submit. So I don't want to submit twice, I already submitted one. So it takes them 2 to 3 business days to respond back to you. So after responding back to you, they will open it for you. Then you can come back right here and then click rerun. Click rerun. That's after 3 days, and you should be able to see your stuff. But definitely I'm gonna come back here to complete this after they responded to my own request. Alright, so we're gonna stop here until I get a response from them. Then we can continue using our pipeline. And after Microsoft Azure had granted your request, all you need is to come back right here. But I'm gonna show you something. Remember when we're setting up my awesome app or whatever you name your project, we choose public. But now we're going to go right here and change it to private. So Microsoft Azure granted us requests based on private. So we're going to go back to my awesome app and change that to my private. If you want to create a new app, make sure you set up your awesome app, whatever you name your project, make sure it's on private. So when I set up my awesome app, I made it public, so I'm gonna go back and change it to private before I continue to my project. Alright, so all I need to go click around right there, so you can see the visibility is public. So all I need to do is to change it to private and click save. Alright, so now it's private. Alright, let's go back to the pipeline and create a pipeline. Remember I didn't save the other one. If you had gotten to that place before you make a request, you can save your pipeline. But if not, you just have to go this way all over again. So right here, okay, I'm gonna click continue. Then I'm gonna click a Java and click apply. Alright, so I'm gonna change this one, my awesome app Azure, and that's okay. And go to the Maven part and go right here, and click on the POM XML, and that's all I need to do right there. Leave as default, go right here, choose my Azure subscription. So you already set up the Azure subscription, it's already there. So I'm gonna go back right here, choose my awesome app, and go right back here, choose my subscription, change this one to the Linux web app on Linux, and choose the web app, and go to the last one and do the same thing, basically the same thing. Alright, so now all we need to do is to go back right here, save. So you could have save if you don't want to build, but save and queue. Alright, you might leave this empty, or you might just type something first. That's a commit message. Azure pipeline, save and run. Alright, so if everything is okay, we should see our agent 1 building. Right now it's save and queue, then build. Alright, so it might take some minute though. Alright, now it's running. You can see it's running right here. It's gonna take a minute. It's building our web app from Azure repo. You can say one publish, 59 seconds, 1 minute. By the time it's finished building, it's gonna show green if everything is okay. But if it has error in it, it's gonna show red. Alright, so after completing, you're gonna see agent job 1 green. And if you click right here, then you should see all the build. Yeah, Azure pipeline, agent just now 1 minute 39 seconds. Job preparation parameter. Alright, so this is what you do, and now you can be able to build your pipeline on Microsoft Azure. So if you go right here and type a slide, my awesome app, then you see hello world. So this is the code that we built with Maven. hello world, and we save it on our Microsoft Azure. So if you are able to see this page, you just deploy your project on Microsoft Azure using Azure App Services. Alright, so this brings us to the end of this section, and I hope you learned. Thank you.